Mosh Madness.
Hardcore.
Rotting
I've heard of it.
Whatever happened to Nelly?
Oh, Nelly's still big.
Is he?
Nelly's country rock now.
Yeah, he's country rock.
Good for him.
He went out on tour with Florida Georgia Line.
And
What about?
And then got some accusations. So yeah.
I think he beat him though. I think there was. We'd have to look into it, but I think.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I want Nelly, Flo Rida, Georgia Line.
I would watch that.
I almost spit up my take.
Pat did a spit take.
Okay, this is Extra Grind, and we typically don't talk about Nelly, but this is how we're leading today. We all miss him.
Yeah.
Miss him every day.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Bob.
I'm Tom.
You know what it is. Typically, not the Nelly podcast.
I heard that music.
Typically,
down, baby.
oh wow, God.
Boom, baby.
Wow, you guys. We typically talk about hardcore and
And other accoutrement.
yes, and this episode,
Nelly's 2 steps over.
we'll maybe only one.
St. Louis hardcore.
He's 2-stepping.
Yeah, sure. We will be talking more Mosh Madness. You got that from the theme. Everybody's kind of with it now.
Yo, the second to last one of the first round.
Fuck.
Round ball rock.
Round ball rock.
We got to get those stream numbers. See what the sound scans
No,
look
John
like.
Tesh, you're welcome.
Dave Tesh, you're welcome too.
Jay Rees, let me get those sound scans.
It feels like everybody's enjoying this shit. I check occasionally the comments coming into the Twitter.
Which is a rare thing. It's appreciated.
It is rare on my part.
I like that you're fascinated by it, though. It's cool.
Yeah, but now that I've said that, there's going to be a bunch of people.
Trying to like subtweet at you.
Yeah. Drop it in just for my benefit.
Your ego feeling good today.
Yo, it's when you're a celeb.
I like this version of Pat better than the worst possible timeline.
Suicide Watch?
Yeah, I was going to really do a check
fucking
on you.
cuck, Pat. Jesus
Holy
Christ.
fuck.
Yo, if it was 10 years ago, there's words I would have been saying to you that would only be able to be sent in invisible ink.
So wait a second.
I was worried for you.
Yeah?
Man.
Well, you know what? It finally came to a head because you're Mr. fucking I'm Irish. We don't have feelings. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not going to say I'm sad, but like, I'm going to talk about suicide a lot.
Listen, for our listeners who are not Worst Possible Timeline listeners, that's a podcast.
They don't exist. The crossover is immense. It's immense.
So that's a podcast I do with my man Eric, and it's
therapy. It's therapy for one of you guys at any point.
That might be true, but basically, the not that we are neutered on this podcast, but we're sensitive to the sensibilities of our listeners, right? So, like, I'm not talking about Suicide Watch all the time because I understand that it's some people that's a sensitive topic. However, on Worst Possible Timeline, I'm leaning all in it, but it's a gag. Everybody, I'm not. No, come on.
He does say
there was some stuff.
He does hit the I'm a Trump guy. So if you want to know what that is and why
is that the tease?
Yeah,
that
there
I'm
you go.
a Trump guy now?
This portion of the episode is sponsored by Worst Possible Timeline.
Honestly,
that was the most Worst Possible Timeline episode you guys have done.
Eric, you owe us $20 for that.
Yeah.
So here's a question regarding Trump shit. Did you
into Trump?
Did you, like me, believe before he was elected that those hats were just going to be shit that skateboarders wore 5 years later?
Like ironically?
Yes,
kinda?
yes.
Like they'd be for sale on vintage sites? Yeah.
Yes. I thought for sure. And now...
Now, in 20 years, they will be. Because by 20 years, the damage will have either healed or the world's going to be post-apocalyptic. And people will be like, it's fucking ironic as hell.
That might be true.
Are you excited to wear it post-ironic? Like you can wear the Make America Great Again?
Do they?
What if you wore Make America Great Again and drew the Twin Towers on the back, like in marker,
and then have like Saddam 518 like embroidered?
Oh, with an airplane towards the side.
This is the most American hat that's ever existed.
It's like there's a thing called suicide by cop when you try to grab a cop's gun. That would be suicide by cap if you wore it out on the street. Like if you want to get fucked up, just wear that out here.
Did you see that?
And get laid out.
You see that 80-year-old man get his hat knocked off his head?
Yeah, that would be you. Is that what you're saying?
That's cool.
I mean, I know you just had a birthday, but I don't think you're 80.
Well, look.
Happy birthday.
How old are you now?
112.
45.
I have a what is it? Like a reputation for being provocative and all that shit. I wouldn't wear a fucking Trump hat for all the money.
Well, because you're e-provocateur.
Yeah,
like there's e-girls, cam girls, and shit. You're an e-provocateur.
I don't need the beating
on the street. You're not.
I don't need the beating. No gag is worth
khaki
that.
in the street, neon pink on the web. There we go.
That being said, though, enough with the fucking make anything great again.
Yeah.
Do they do that?
Make Metallica great again. Make Nazis scared again.
Sure.
make Slayer great again.
Yeah, because it all kind of feeds back to the original, like the original meme.
I remember being in Asbury Park around Halloween, this past Halloween. Wait, was it? Maybe it was. I guess it was. And we saw some guy with a red hat, so I'm like, all right, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it ended up being he was wearing a Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory hat because he was dressed as
That's the
Forrest
only
Gump.
one I'm willing to accept now. Make bubblegum shrimp great again.
But I was like, all right, so this dude's going to get, said something. And then I was like, oh, God, thank God. We would have beaten up the guy that was dressed like Forrest Gump.
Some people are looking for the conflict. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Some
of course.
people,
But they can't catch, they don't want the heat.
No,
They don't want that smoke.
It depends. I mean, there's people
Call me Mr. Chimney.
There's some people that, like the 80-year-old man, I don't think was looking for trouble.
No, he actually hates black people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's trouble in its own right.
Yeah, just putting it out there, man.
But there's like a young 4chan type of kid that I think he's looking for the action.
You think they bring the troll to IRL?
There are people that bring the troll to IRL.
Like, they don't really believe it, but they're like, isn't this funny?
Okay,
and then they get punched in the mouth.
I'm going to get killed for this. I think that a huge portion of the online chatter, pro-Trump online chatter, is not the people that we've said it is. I think it's largely people who are apolitical.
And just pushing.
Yeah.
Live on Reddit.
Right. Who just looking. Look,
Because if you hadn't started doing Axe to Grind with us, that's where you'd be at. He's spit take all day today.
Bob is murdering it today.
no.
Just going at home hard. He needs to. He's been upstate. He needs some fucking entertainment.
Jesus. Upstate.
I was also going to ask when the Wicca phase pivot's going to happen.
Me personally, when
Yes.
I'm going to. I don't know.
You seen them crowds?
I've written a rap song.
You should.
But
you got to dress a little better. That dude dress is pretty sweet.
I don't know.
I've written a rap song, but here's the thing. I think he's going for like a relate to me rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're unrelatable.
I think we're 30 seconds from his pivot because that dude's always moving to the next block before everybody else. And I think he's like, oh shit, this is maxed out. I'm going to move on. I'm going to make my next party. I'm curious.
Maybe you can get on that train, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote like strip club.
It's come
anthem
around to
music.
self-defense. Oh, did you?
Yeah, like I wrote a rap song that's just strip club anthem stuff.
Let's listen to those demos after this.
Okay, very good. All right, everybody, our sponsors. And listen, before we go further, I have no affiliation with Trump, and neither do our sponsors.
No, I do want to ask you, if you're bored on like a Tuesday up there, go to Stewart's shop and just camp out. I'm sure they have Wi-Fi at Stewart's shops now, right?
I'm not sure.
I doubt it. But just go and count the MAGA hats. See how many come in and out.
Here's a mystery. Has everybody looked into? So we don't drink at this table, so we it's not like germane to our ship. But Mountain Brew, is that what it's called? The sports centric Stewart's beverage.
It's like Mountain Dew for dudes.
It's beer. But the packaging has always, and they changed it, so it's bizarre that it seemed like they were using clip art of sports events.
Like random.
Yeah,
Yes, like
young kid in a
Microsoft
blank white-
Word
Oh,
clip art
Jesus.
shit.
But they've since changed the packaging and kept with the sports theme, which is insane. But at any rate, it used to be. I went down a hole the other day because somehow this topic came up.
Weird.
I've only ever seen the packaging, and since I don't drink, I don't know what the fuck. But somebody was like, "Oh, that's just Genesee," and I said, "Oh, is that?"
That kind of makes
beer?
sense. It makes sense as Genesee.
But it changed a couple
beer?
years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It changed a couple years ago from Genesee, and this is my research, to a. There's some giant company that makes all the shit beer in the United States.
Yes.
Like all the forgettable sort of
Milwaukee's Best.
like all the stuff.
Natty Ice, Natty
Schlitz.
Light,
all
that
the
shit.
stuff that is like, and I'm saying more off-brand than that. Like
wow.
so,
Like $1.99 for a sixer.
right, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So that company now makes Mountain Brew, and I don't think anybody noticed or registered the change. It's just sort of
it's
people
just
are
so trash people can't tell the difference. Yeah.
people are just drinking that to get
It's
hammered.
just like
And it doesn't matter.
4-day-old trash or 5-day-old trash.
Yeah.
It's still trash.
So if you have sipped on Mountain Brew, hit our email. Let us know what
So
that's
I mean,
like.
that's more common in food and beverage production than you might think. Is like blind packaging. Is producers who do that shit. You know, quite often. Coffee. Riddled with that. So, all right. So the same ShopRite coffee you buy is probably not that different than Folgers.
Can I give a quick bizarre shout out?
Green Mountain,
Sure.
Contamination, a movie from 1980, where I watched it the other day on Amazon Prime because this is where my life is at. Just for this is our
priming.
version of Suicide Watch right
You
now.
are
You're on the-
priming.
Yeah,
You're
I
on the
know.
couch.
I'm priming. So here's the deal. on Amazon Prime.
Butter jelly.
My mom hasn't made me shit. It's crazy. I thought I'd spend a week at my mom's house and be like, oh, I'm just gonna eat a bunch of vegan brownies, whatever.
Yeah.
She hasn't made me shit. Not a shit.
We're clipping this and sending it over.
That's it.
Anyway, contamination. There was a guy who made a Star Wars ripoff, and it was financially successful enough that the producers came to him and said, "Can you do an Aliens ripoff?" So he did an Aliens ripoff, but it takes place on Earth because they couldn't afford spaceships and shit.
Amazing.
So it's all these eggs filled with spores that make people explode, that are being shipped from a coffee plantation in South America. And that's what and then at the end, there's a green alien cyclops monster that devours people.
Is this an allegory for your life?
I urge everybody to check this movie out because it has fairly decent, or at least extreme-ish chest explosions nonstop. Everybody's chest is just exploding because if you get a little bit of the spore on you,
that's it.
Yeah, you just blow up.
Okay,
all right.
Contamination, 1980. Next up, okay. Actually, sorry.
Prime us.
This is a question I had. What do you consider an old movie?
At this point, anything before like probably 2000.
See, that's interesting. Ready? I think black and white.
Oh, what do you mean? Like when I was a kid? Yo, honestly, even up till like 2000, I thought black and white was old. Yes. Maybe into the 60s, there was a couple things, but anything that was color, like even the 70s, I was like, oh, this isn't that old. Like, I think that timeline has been fucked. I think that now, like for vintage clothing, they like websites like Etsy, etc., say vintage clothes are only 20 years old. So right now, a t-shirt from 1999 is vintage.
Fuck.
Right. Which just seems kind of crazy, but then you go, I guess
20 years. I mean,
I think anything prior to 1995 is
that's
old.
So.
I was
right,
like, you know.
Right, and but I was trying to look at it through different lenses. My lens, I've been watching all these movies from 1980, sometimes 1973. I watched the Crazies, the original Crazies, the Romero, and I'm watching these movies, and to me, they don't feel all that old. But I acknowledge, oh shit, if I were 25, this would be like watching the Revolutionary War.
Oh, yeah, phones didn't exist. The internet didn't exist.
It's because, like all three of the people at this table can still remember the time before computers. And by the way, there's kids who don't remember the time of computers because they just have laptops and tablets. Or not laptops, phones and tablets. So computers, like a desktop, there hasn't been a desktop in their home.
How freaked out are you when you talk to somebody who never touches their computer?
I mean, it's a weird thing.
Because they do everything on their phone.
Yes, correct.
I feel like there's certain things you just can't. I mean, that's my
I feel like everything. I could barely text.
But like ordering stuff and shit, I'd rather do it on a computer.
I'd rather do anything on a computer.
That's true.
Okay, sponsor time.
You know who likes computers? Trey from Death Wishing.
He loves them.
Loves computers. Great sponsor. Death Wish has some plans for this year. I wasn't given the full story, but I was given a sneak.
We never are.
I know, but I got a little sneak. It sounds cool, pretty interesting stuff. If you go to deathwishing.com, enter the promo code
X to grind.
And you want to?
For sure, spell it out.
Okay. And you spell that AXETOGRIND. We have some jingles, but we aren't ready to do the jingle contest.
Oh, you know what?
I have a couple people who send them in.
I think a celebrity sent us one.
Yes. He sent us a couple things that are for use. The next one for the next episode of Mosh Madness, actually. So Death Wish, fine purveyors of hardcore and hardcore adjacent material. They just put up the Murmur record, which I think we talked about already. Mm-hmm. What else have they done that we want to jump on?
The REM Classic?
Yes. Actually, it's note for note.
Done
by the guy from 100 Demons.
Wow. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's not like I want the next one to be deep, like later. Like, give me some. What's the frequency kind of like? What's that Monster era?
That's Monster era,
which
is
way past.
Way past. What's that?
Have you heard the Murmur record?
It's
cool.
No, I haven't.
The actual Murmur, like the record we're talking about, not Michael Stipe.
The musical act Murmur, not
right, spelled differently.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, okay. You know what? Here, let's shout this out because they recently started working with the record label Get Better Records. Yeah. Go check out some of that stuff. Take a sampling. We spoke of Hers Collective, Here's Collective.
And I really like Control Top.
Control Top. So go check some of that stuff out, deathwishing.com.
Here's is on tour soon.
Okay.
And who's our other sponsor? Said he was going to be here today. Not here today.
He's too busy going fucking parrot.
I got to derail for 1 second. I was informed that hers shirts are the new tragedy shirts in Australia.
Oh, that's right.
That's awesome.
How odd is that?
Hey,
World is a weird place.
Like if you're
And Patrick's no longer afraid to die.
like if you're doing a promo photo, like you used to wear your tragedy shirt.
Sure,
that was how you got your little cred or whatever. Hers is now that in
so
Australia.
like Parkway Drive is like rocking a here's.
I think
That's dope.
maybe.
Australia,
over.
fly us over. Let's go.
Fly them too. They're fantastic.
Maybe we'll fly Sam with us. Triple B Records.
Triple B Records. Yeah,
Sam's gonna fly us on his private jet.
Oh,
Yeah.
the B-liner.
Wow. He was supposed to be here.
He's supposed to be here.
What happened?
I believe he is waiting on some test presses for the new Akulu single to arrive.
Sex.
So they're supposed to arrive tomorrow morning, so he couldn't be here with us today. Shout that out. You're going to go to triplebrecords.limitedrun.com. You're going to enter the promo code.
Axe to grind.
And Tom, what do you do with that one?
You'd have to spell it out.
There we go.
But make sure you spell it with an E, not like Pat.
No.
Yeah.
So we're picking on you a lot today. We're
both
trying
are-
to.
both are
We
smart.
listened to that fucking worst possible timeline, and we're like,
I wanted to smack you around like the little brother I never had.
But what did you learn from that timeline? That I have
nothing.
that I subscribe to the idea that
Don't
we
cry.
should smack each other
Yes, I
around.
know.
That's normal.
I know. That's why we're trying to.
Yeah,
beat
please,
you up.
let's get it
What
back.
else
you know,
about?
you could order from Triple B.
Please.
New Fury record.
Oh.
Yo, what about this? There was a limited exclusive color on Run for Cover, limited exclusive color on Triple B, 300 each, both sold out.
Fuck.
Oh, so you can order that.
You can still get limited versions from Triple B.
Awesome.
Not that version, but others. So go there. That record is great. Failed Entertainment. Check it out.
get
We
the
got love for Run
Closer
for
record.
Cover.
I guess
Yeah, One Step Closer, all of it's popping.
I guess we'll have like a more in-depth Fury talk soon.
Yeah,
when
we
the
will.
record comes out, maybe. 'Cause
Yeah, why don't we?
I had that single was pitched in my group chats 20 different ways. So it's hitting different. It's scratching different itches for different
People. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's. You know what I'd like to do? Yeah, that was you.
Did you just fart on
Yeah. So let's do a Fury deep dive.
We can do it.
They got a 7-inch, and 2 LPs. So,
Okay.
Wow.
So once that new LP comes, we'll do a full deep dive.
I feel like this record's gonna fucking blow, like pop.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people I know that were like on the fence are like, oh no, I'm in now.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of hot takes. People saying it sounded like Refused. I thought it sounded like Orange 9mm.
I got Refused. I got Orange 9. Somebody said Drug Church. I said
I don't hear the Drug Church.
I don't hear Drug Church.
Me neither.
And to be honest, I expected more Orange 9. I just hear New Age. I
wanna
literally hear a modernized New Age.
You want to know what I want to give it? One of the Axe Grind listeners said, I hear some touches of Sensefield.
I think people are fabricating this shit.
I don't hear the Sensefield. I hear like the Orange 9 Refused because it's got that like part that's sort of like groovy.
Sensefield,
Yeah,
listen to
groovy.
some of the more melodic guitar parts in that song. That's
Yeah.
the only thing. I thought that was a deep cut. I don't think it sounds like Sensefield as
No,
the whole
no, no,
package.
no,
No way.
yeah.
But listen to some of the guitar stuff. I thought it was interesting.
And Jeremy's voice sounds awesome.
That's true.
Step
Awesome.
up.
Yeah.
And I thought he was good. I think he's better now. All right. You guys ready to Mosh Madness?
Let's go in.
Ready to dunk on somebody.
How you guys feeling about this? We're almost done.
It's been a trek.
It is. It's been a
lot.
journey. So to give the rundown of how it's going to go from here, we mapped out our what episodes we're releasing, blah blah blah. If all goes well, this episode comes mid-March. The next one comes the week after, and that is the last of the first round Mosh Madness episodes. For efficiency and everything, we're probably not doing another Mosh Madness episode until the finale.
Right.
So we're not going to do a recorded episode. Maybe we'll do some YouTube stuff because that stuff's fun to kind of keep it updated. But the next couple rounds, so it's
all on y'all.
It's gonna be on you guys. We're gonna put it on social media. The voting's gonna be a little faster because theoretically everyone's heard it. We still want those conversations. The conversation has been awesome to see. Everybody talking about it. And that is exactly what our aim was to get people talking about this.
Right. Not a
Get people-
competition.
not a competition.
shitty
Just
competition.
because, these are 64, 68 of the best records that came out over the past decade. It's really cool. A lot of this stuff, first time, second
Which blew
time.
my mind.
You know? Yeah.
A lot of times when people are like, this is the first time I'm hearing Trapped Under Ice. I'm like, how the fuck have you not? I mean, and it's awesome. And then
but
there's
it's
other bands-
right. I'm shocked by that too.
Oh, no, but it's cool as shit. But like, just to be like, oh, you're a hardcore person and you don't You've never heard them before? Like, that blows my mind.
When we talk about gaps and how we all got them,
Blind spots, yep.
TUI is a difficult one to comprehend. But
Right. If you haven't heard the Impalers record, right.
I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really shocked at some of the things that people are hearing for the first time.
The biggest records in the past 10, 15 years, people are hearing for the first time, listening to.
Yes.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And because,
It's a whole
and you
point.
know what? There's the gap that is just happened. And it's like, oh, I didn't intend for it. I just missed it.
Yeah, it happens.
Or the willful, which I appreciate almost more,
Yes.
that people are coming back to it and going, you know what? I didn't give this band or this record a chance. And I saw a lot of people who were TUI fans who were like, oh, I loved everything up to this, but then I heard this once and was like, no, I don't like this. And now are going back to it and going, oh shit, I fucked up.
Right, or people that were strictly like in the Boston Strangler lane and were like,
Yes.
listen to that Repentance band. It's actually really good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
there you go.
You're seeing that,
Fucking
and
whole
that's
point.
really cool.
That's
That's
just nice to
really
see
really
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
So it's going to basically go. We're going to go online. We'll figure out how to make the voting work. So we go from we're getting from 64 to 32 by the end of the next episode. From 32 to 16 to 8 to the final 4.
Right.
And then we'll do an episode with the championship. And
It will
kinda go
air during halftime of the actual final. No,
Yeah.
we could try.
We could try. We can. It's going to air that day.
It's gonna-
which
yeah.
is really cool.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is this your bag that you brought from Eric's
No,
house?
it's Eric's. He just put it in there.
So everybody, we share
Black Jansport.
Eric's from Queens. Of course, he's got a black Jansport.
we share some equipment with Worst Possible Timeline, and
AKA they borrow our equipment.
Yeah, we share.
And
Yeah, we are good sharers.
he gave you a bag that smells so strongly of. Does anybody smell that?
Yeah,
Is
give
it
me
marijuana?
No. It smells.
That's
like,
from the hallway.
It smells
Like
like
butt or like he broke a cologne in
like Beano's, the stuff you put on subs. You know what I'm talking?
Like oil and
mayonnaise?
vinegar?
Oil and it smells like somebody's got an Italian sub.
Did he go to Subway after he got jumped?
That's what this. It's. You guys don't smell this?
No.
It's like
No,
pretty.
bring it over.
It's pretty
Listen.
overwhelming.
I'm off.
We can put it out in the hallway.
I think we got to.
Oh yeah, it does definitely. Right into that. Yeah.
Oh my god, it smells like a Blimpie's fucking sub.
Yeah, it's.
Yo, we're in Jersey
Did you go
Mike's
to Jersey
podcast.
Mike's with
I
the-
did not.
Holy fuck. Is that like his like? That's how he gets his bag. He
his
delivered.
soda.
I have no idea what that's like crazy to me though.
Yo, that really stinks.
Yes.
I mean, it's not an offensive smell.
Well, there's some overlap with oil, like with sub smell and body odor smell, because you've
True.
met people that smell like a
Like a
sub.
bologna sub.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sure.
So I don't know. It just struck me.
What do you get at a sub spot as a vegan? Like, and let's say it's a standard ass sub shop, you know?
Just go vegetables. oil,
Yeah, if
vinegar.
I got to, I'll go with their rendition of a veggie delight. But I lean over the spit guard and say, "Yeah, you're gonna need some more roasted reds on that, my dude."
Okay.
You know, what I mean?
As much as you can. It's like, yo, I need to feel that weight.
When you skimp on pickles or roasted reds, I know you're a scum shop, not a sub shop.
roasted
Fuck, man.
reds. I love it.
All right. So, March Madness. So it's going to end on the day of the championship,
Which is like April 2nd or something.
April 8th, I think.
April 8th, that
yeah,
far?
which is why we're able to do this. It's like, and yeah, we think everybody's been having a good time. Enjoy. I'm pricing out trophies right now.
Ooh, nice.
Wow.
We're going to be real about this shit.
What's our list here today? We're going to
Let's
jump
get
right
into
into
the
it.
list. Yeah, let's go for it.
This was an interesting because I don't know if there was any favorites of mine on this particular, but there's been brackets where I've been kind of going into it a little bit discouraged, and this I wasn't discouraged. This was very academic and clinical for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I felt one of my takeaways listening to this was that, with maybe one exception, very modern list overall, and it felt more so 2010s than anything else. And there's a couple that I think are not quite the biggest record, but certainly you could say, give me a couple records, take off TUI, take off Code Orange, take off Turnstile, take off Power Trip. Give me a few records that define the 2010s. And there's a few on here that help
100%.
that.
there's one on here that was talked about incessantly when it came out, and doesn't get the same talk. And it's interesting how those things can kind of they
Ebb and flow?
Yeah, but we're going to get into it. It's fascinating revisiting something that had such a whirlwind of hype around it. You know,
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm just holding on to the table because
I know, we're getting the rock.
The Round Rock.
Ooh. Ready? Foundation, When the Smoke Clears.
Ooh.
Versus Regulate in the Promise of Another Tomorrow.
Tough.
Nails, Unsilent Death.
Ooh, hard.
Versus Impalers, Cellar Dweller.
Wild.
Rotting Out, Street Prowl.
Ooh, punk.
Versus Cruel Hand, Lock and Key.
Ooh, shredding.
Turnstile, Step to Rhythm.
A little groove there.
Versus Bane, Don't Wait Up.
An emotional core that's unavoidable.
Ooh, Tom was gassing you up. You were feeling so good halfway through that. It was nice.
Punk. Shredding.
Well, I always do the noises.
You got a little spiral. I like that.
I needed to upgrade from the noises.
Feeling good.
I like the ad-libs like they talk about on Button.
Yeah.
Let's start with we'll start at the top. Foundation, When the Smoke Clears, released on Bridge 9 Records in 2011, 8 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so heads up. I see the Foundation dudes when I'm in Atlanta, and they
Try not to get a whooping.
Champ is gonna let you.
they
agree.
We're on the same page, but I'm gonna now push it to the point they might have to beat my ass. I hate this record.
Wow.
Tom, your vocals are the only part that kicks for me because.
You're just saying that because I'm here.
No, honestly, I think Thomas's vocals on this needed so much more attention and love to make this record a classic. And
interesting.
And he is a very capable vocalist, great front person,
great lyric writer,
and really a package. And this is a disservice to him. I hate the production on this record, and if I could, I would travel back in time and I would kill everybody involved so that it didn't exist.
You got your little fucking Michael J. Fox vest on?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how strongly I feel about this, because this is wasted potential. And what movie is it that says there's nothing worse than wasted potential? Is that Donnie Brasco?
Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams.
Fucking
nothing
League
worse
of
than,
Our Own? I don't know.
Back to the Future 3? I have no
Nothing
idea.
worse than wasted potential.
Do you think
There's only one movie that says that, so I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to narrow it down, because there's only that one movie about wasted potential.
Oh, it was Creed 2.
Yes, okay. All right. Well, nothing worse. And this really pisses me off, because this is a good band, and this is a not good record.
A good band at the peak of their powers.
Yes.
This is a band who is clearly the band in the moment.
This is where you gotta have the belief in self to tell. What was this on Bridge 9?
Yeah.
You got to say to Bridge 9, hey, capable engineers, everybody involved is cool, but maybe we made the wrong decision for us.
We need a round 2.
Yeah, we're throwing this in the trash.
That's a hard thing. I've talked to bands who get out of the studio and days later are like, nah.
Yeah.
This ain't it, chief.
Yeah.
And that's rough. I didn't have the same production woes as you. I think this record is maybe my favorite Foundation material now listening to it. I don't think the production is great. No. I think Thomas's vocals are stronger on Turncoat.
Yes.
No question.
But musically, this record hits a groove for me much more so than Turncoat. There's a midway that starts with that. Is it Anthems for Redemption?
What
that you're
yes,
on? Yeah. That right there, it's like 3 or 4 songs. My favorite songs on the record are Anthem for Redemption, No Cure for Fools, and No One Writes Protest Songs Anymore.
Damn right.
Those songs, and there might be one more in there. I'm like, oh, these are the best songs of the record. I kind of can take or leave the rest, but those I'm like, oh, it's just fast enough for me. They're still pretty solidly mid-tempo.
Yeah, but there are some gallops.
There are, and I think that it's dynamic enough in some of the songs. Yeah. I don't think Thomas's vocals sound natural, but I think that the overall record is cool. This is the first time where I'm like, oh, okay, I get why there's a lot of people who sweat this record. Yeah. When I heard the song with you on it, I thought it was some young teenager who was like youthful and like, what band is this dude from?
Really?
I really did, because I didn't put it together. I was like, oh shit. And it is a highlight. So good job on that. It's really good.
I didn't write it. I just followed what Hank told me to do.
Yeah, it was good.
Whatever.
I recorded in Rachel's in the picture window of Rachel's house in Parlin, New Jersey.
No shit.
Right, the day after Christmas.
Shout out
There
Sayreville.
was a giant snowstorm coming, so I'm like, we gotta get this done. It's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm yelling in her front window. She recorded it for me, and we sent it out to them.
I recorded the other day at
rap song?
at Andrew from Self Defense's place around the corner, and doing loud-ish vocals in somebody's home. Yeah,
Weird.
You want to do it during the day because people aren't there.
Is this War Profiteer?
No, War Profiteer.
You lacing somebody with a track?
Wait till you hear the tracks, Andrew. Damn.
There's War Profiteer.
There's some War Profiteer hotness, but that's not what this was. Actually,
this was not what it was.
But at any rate, it's doing that shit into people's houses. You get a little bubble of self-consciousness that I don't typically get in the studio.
Who the fuck are you?
What?
You are like
What
an
happened to
alien
you?
that replaced Patrick.
What?
Yeah.
You got, yelling in
Yeah.
somebody's fucking apartment? You're waiting for the cops
do
to
it right
kick
now.
the door in.
This
Well, she
is the
lives in a
same
house,
dude
so
who it was like, oh, we're trying to sign your band. The dudes here want some more songs. Can you guys send me something? Yeah. We're going to record it. Records with like a head cold, and it sounds like this. And he just sends it like, here it is. I'm like,
Ballsy.
what the fuck?
Well,
Now he's scared to record in a house.
Right.
No, you're just I don't want to get swatted.
Dude lives in Brownstone, man.
I don't want to
They're
get
at work.
swatted. They might be at work.
Dude lives in the Cosby house. He's
Yeah,
fine.
they're not all miscreants like
You know what? Hold on. We say he lives in the Cosby house because it looks nice, all that bullshit, and it is a nice home, but it's directly across the street from a needle exchange, and
true.
right next to it is the van that parks and gives you the HIV test. You know what I mean? So it's like nothing wrong with either of those resources. Glad they exist. However, as far as neighborhoods go, it changes the dynamic a
For a
little
dude
bit.
who lives in the van down by the river, like you got to chill out
dude
on
is
this.
like-
I know.
Yeah, lived on a park bench at Bard, and now he's like looking down on some.
Listen,
motherfucker.
I'm not judging somebody that's got utilized the needle exchange. I'm simply saying that we look.
You're saying they're not in affluent neighborhoods.
It's saying
That's true.
typically not in affluent neighborhoods.
I love the fact that you just said you live around the corner from them, so you're bad mouthing.
Currently, I don't live fucking anywhere.
Yeah, it's very.
What do you think about that?
It's very
Disconcerting.
It really is. It's very existential.
Axe to Grind
reading a
HQ is on the
Albert
move. We're
Camus.
looking for something. So if you got a spare cot,
Yes,
looking
I-
3 hots and a cot.
Yo, the offers that you get when you put it out in the world, hey, I'm looking for a spot, you get some weird fucking offers, my dude.
Like services, like exchange of services for.
Yeah, I got one of those.
that's
Right,
cool.
Yeah, and
But like, are they the services that I'm thinking of?
yes,
Nice.
I got one of those. I got several people are going through other life shit not dissimilar from me. You know what I mean?
And they're like, hey, let's just fucking let's get through this together.
bro pad, my dude.
All right, nothing wrong with that.
And then there's kind of like people that are just looking to kind of Airbnb their spot where they say, hey, how about 2 days a week? You sleep on my couch and give me $65, and you're like, you want to be my hotel now? You know what I mean? Like, all right, I guess.
what I'm waiting for is that Japanese style. Like here's a vent that you sleep in. I'm all in for that.
I'm fine
gonna
with
sleep
the
in a
pod
dresser
or any of
drawer.
that
the
shit.
pod, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so foundation.
I think
You're
right.
a part of this record.
Yeah,
so.
it's really. I have to kind of almost abstain.
Yeah.
I think it's there's 6 really good songs on here. If I have to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Purple Heart's a great song. The Who Will March Forward.
Yeah.
When the smoke clears, hard.
Now the one thing I will
Production
say,
does suck though.
I think that song sets a tone. Like that song has a couple like more metalish parts.
Yeah.
Which to me, like I'm like, oh, maybe this has scared me off in prior listens.
Maybe because that's the first song you hear.
Right. And so for some people who go in and listen to this, because I know there's some people who do and try to listen to every record.
Sure.
But if they catch a song or two early,
You're
then
not
they're like,
into,
I'm
right.
out.
Right.
Stick with this one to track 4 or 5 and then listen through there and just see, because it feels a little different once you get to there, I think.
Right. And I think if you like the Turmoil, if you like, that sort of
Great
band,
comp.
I think, you'd be into this.
This has that hardness, but not that complexity. Turmoil at parts is
A little chaotic.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
but
More technical.
These songs would have been fantastic had they been given the ability to be fantastic.
You want to take, which is not hot. This is a record that helps bridge the gap for people who are into more straightforward hardcore and then people who are into more metallic hardcore, and it being like, no, that's okay. You don't have to be one way or the other.
They were I feel like, they were the band that would like fit on United Blood. They were the first kind
They
of
could have
those
played Posse
types.
Number or
Correct.
Hellfest.
Right.
Yeah, and would
Yes.
have.
Sure.
Right,
You know?
right,
Sure,
which
sure.
is pretty rare.
Okay.
Any other? Yeah, so this is, and like, we shouldn't low rate how big this record was, and probably always will be.
I mean, is this the
Regionally, this is like the calling card of anywhere south of Virginia.
right? I was gonna say, is this like south of Mason-Dixon? Is this the biggest hardcore record?
Oh. In recent memory, certainly.
Think about it. What else is bigger than this? Maybe Stretch Armstrong?
Dixie by a Veil.
Stretch Armstrong has people who will detract and be like, not hardcore enough.
Right. Okay. So if we're counting,
but like I don't think
Dixon
no
line
one
includes Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
All right. So 4 a.m. Friday, but whatever.
But there's people who would say, by the way, we didn't get to talk about this. Yo, genre, please. Don't. If it's on March Madness, it's fucking hardcore record.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
4 a.m. Friday, there's going to be people who be like, oh, that's not a hardcore band. They're like punk band. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah, Avail was very, very big.
Yeah, but I'm thinking I feel like
I think this is the most clearly like hardcore record with mosh parts. That's like the biggest record.
Yeah, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all around that area, kind of sprung.
I say
from
all the way
this.
out to Texas and up to like the mid, like Missouri. You know,
absolutely. This has to be one of the biggest. I mean, think about: is there maybe Shai Hulud in Florida?
Maybe Shai Hulud in Florida.
But like, this is a game changer for that whole like.
And then there was stuff like Between the Buried and Me, but that kind of exited.
Again, same deal.
Right.
Doesn't if Stretch Armstrong's being discounted, then Between the Buried and Me definitely is.
Look,
Stretch was a thing.
I'm not Stretch Armstrong's advocate here. I'm not a social worker, but those are hardcore records. If we're calling Bane hardcore, then we're calling Stretch Armstrong hardcore.
But I'll tell you this. You go to United Blood and do a poll. Every kid there is going, undoubtedly. Foundation hardcore.
Oh, sure.
Band.
Yeah.
Stretch Armstrong, you're gonna have some people like
pop punk band.
Yeah.
But like
all true.
Also positive Foundation for they toured and they kind of built a bit of a network down south. Like in some of those weirder spots. Like, not that Birmingham didn't have a scene, but I think Foundation helped build that up more too. And made it a place. Birmingham shows awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, think
Great
about
place.
it. Their last show sold out a giant space.
In one of the biggest cities in the country.
Right. The Masquerade, the big room, sold out like 3 months in advance. 1,700 people.
Wild
That was a good show.
Sure it was.
We got to play it.
Yes, that's
Harm's
cool.
Way.
Yes.
Abuse of Power, I think.
I think so.
And somebody else. Fuck. I'm going to blank.
Yeah,
I feel bad. Yeah.
Big band, cool record.
Very important band.
Up against
Regulate in the Promise of Another Tomorrow. Edgewood Records, 2018, last year.
I was going to say, it's
fresh.
Relative newcomers.
We got that neon light on at Krispy Kreme right now.
Relative newcomers.
Speaking of, you can break out
those donuts?
We do need to get those treats. So.
Motherfucker.
I didn't see the donuts. I'll get to the donuts.
Getting senile.
No, but it's like, birthday gift from me. When you and Dave brought me snacks for my birthday, I shared.
Oh yeah. He was real quick to take that bag.
He was like, "Thanks, bro."
I like
secured the bag.
He secured the bag.
There's some ulterior motives to this gift giving. I see. He wants his own donut. Okay.
Look,
I mean, it's a party, man.
Yeah, all right, fine. We'll fucking get into the donut party.
Who do you know who gets a birthday cake? He's like, "Thank you." And moves it to the next room.
Patrick Kinlan, apparently. The prick.
You know what? I do get proprietary about
food.
Food's it. You know what I mean? I used to have a girlfriend that I knew didn't like root beer that much, but I would always buy the expensive ass, whatever those expensive root beers are. And she'd reach for one and I'd say, "Do you really like it? I feel like you're going to only drink a third of it." And then I feel bad because I love it.
Yeah.
And for me to get weird about...
You single? Wow. Sorry.
Yo.
For me to get wild about, I
think part of that is I get weird about food in a weird way. I really have to internally check myself. Like, man, I can be rough, but that's one of the things that I really check myself hard on. And with a kid, do you know what a kid wants to do with you all the time? Share all your food all the time.
So you get mad at someone like, let me get a fry?
Because I'm like, man, do you see how big I am? I am fucking hungry. I got this many fries because that's how many I wanted. If you wanted some, fucking tell me and I'll order you some more.
Let me say this.
Amanda's so bad with it too.
I got a friend who's on the let me get a bite, and I'm always like, how could that possibly fulfill you? Like, how does that work?
It, like to see if you want to order it next time.
Right? How does that
I feel
work?
like that's some. I feel challenged. Like, you're just trying to deprive me of part of this?
I legitimately, speaking of this, and this you might agree. You might this might resonate with you. I was out. We were on tour with the band, and the booking agent will remain nameless.
Okay.
Member of said band, literally one of the nicest dudes I've ever met. Reaches over and grabs a fry from the booking agent. It was like we played where the booking agent lived. We all went out to dinner.
Yeah.
Everything was cool. It wasn't like he wasn't paying for it, but we were like, hey, we'll just say that was a great show. Yeah. booking agent literally almost like challenged a dude to a fight.
Like
much.
loses his goddamn mind.
Yeah,
over a fry?
You motherfucker, screaming.
I'm gonna guess that that person was going through something because
we could talk about the person.
We gotta share. Like, I'm very good at sharing. Like, if someone asks me, I'm almost never.
Yeah, if someone just reached over, you'd be like, motherfucker.
I'm like, yo, man, come on, just ask. But there are times when it's someone who's close to me, or if it's the worst thing you can do, we're going to get sandwiches. You want a sandwich? Nah, I'm good. All right, I get a sandwich. Hey, let me get some of your sandwich. We just talked about this. You didn't want a sandwich. You want some of my sandwich?
Get a small sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Or get a sandwich. Wrap up the second half. You got lunch for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
All right. Wow.
Do we sound selfish?
We sound hangry.
I know.
I wish we had stuff
You want
that
those
would
donuts? Okay.
If only there were some treats to eat.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
All right.
Regulate and
Regulate
Promise.
in the promise of another tomorrow, Edgewood 2018. If you go back, this is one of the bands who made it in on our Bubble episode,
Yes.
which is the true first episode of Mosh Madness. And we talk about this record a lot. We'll talk about it more now.
Sure.
A record that you, Patrick, told us you think we actually low rated when describing to you. But I think both Tom and I like this record a
Very much.
really good amount.
Yeah, I think this record came out and was maybe chat-wise overshadowed by the stuff that came out in similar times. So this is a disease that we all suffer from. When something's not getting the chat, we assume it's because it's not hot.
Man, I wish there was people who were doing things so that records got talked about more.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. We should think of that.
We'll work on it.
But when we that's a
No, you're totally right.
That's a problem.
That's the reason to do shit like this. The reason we do this right now.
it's this isn't getting talked about. There must be a reason. Like it's almost like like the inverse of if there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
It's there's no smoke. Oh,
There's no fire.
no fire.
Oh, that's wow.
It's smart though, because if we, like you say, your timeline is not the world.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We go like, oh
100%.
well, but then you see, oh Jesus Christ, they're playing California and it's wild.
Yep.
They played
Killed it.
Brooklyn, like they're killing it everywhere.
I was at that Brooklyn show and they smoked it. This crowd was there for them.
Right. I mean, and maybe for 36-year-olds, it's not the hottest thing.
Right.
Because we don't, I wish I was 36, but you know what I mean? I'm trying to, Bob's the youngest man. But like, I feel like if you're 23, this is your shit.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
So for me in this contest, throughout the entire thing so far, the two bands that maybe sneak into my sensibilities in a way that I will be revisiting often. Who's that Southern California band that I really enjoyed? Misery.
Misery, yep, absolutely.
Misery really struck me as, I was overlooking this.
Yep.
Regulate, same thing.
Yep.
Those are the two that for me, I'm like, yo, this speaks to a modern sense of a modern, very, and when I say modern, sometimes there's a connotation, but a very current spin on a thing that I like. And I enjoyed this record even more this time.
Yeah, I thought I've listened to this record a lot now, and I find things frequently with it that I'm like, oh, this is a cool part. The mid, so there's the instrumental song that goes into character arc. This is a band, like we talk about, this is a band who would have been on Posse Numbers. This is a band who is on United Blood. This is that kind of band. These are the dudes who are moshing at the Floor Punch shows. But they're a bold musical act. They're taking risks, especially if you consider their background. And I think that, and there's no derogatory nature in this, that's part of the modern thing, is these are dudes who are like, yeah, bro, we're not scared to take these risks. We're not scared to sing on the track. And there's going to be some people who don't fuck with that. But I dare you to try. I dare you to listen to this record and listen to the fast parts. This is a record that I think appeals if you like heavy groove or if you're more into fast shit.
I'm Mr. Dismissal on clean vocals. I'll get your record the fuck out of here on a clean vocal fucking trip up. I thought that was a good song. Character art, good song.
Yep.
Yeah, so we talked about it, but if we got to talk about it more, what I'm coming from on this, making a lot of decisions that I would never think to make, and I kind of respect that.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I was just looking at an annoying face.
I saw that your lip curled. That's why I was just letting you ride with it, because I was like,
no, it has nothing to do with regulate. It has to do with this is one of the grooviest hardcore records in a minute, which I thought was really cool. I thought the lyrics are cool.
Yes.
They're so like they're so raw that they're almost uncomfortable sometimes.
That's true.
To me.
Yeah.
And I think like Blacklisted does that very well too. that kind of like, fuck, I shouldn't be reading this.
There's another band coming up that does that too.
You know, which I think is really cool. Seb's voice is really cool. Like, I was shocked at character arc, the way he sounded in the beginning. I think this literally has something for everyone. So, like, if you're like a mosh kid, this has got mosh parts.
Yep.
If you're someone who just likes fast stuff, has fast parts, he can sing. He's a very good front man, front person. I think this is a record that people, well, we can't say that people actually missed, because I feel like they're doing really well.
Yeah.
But I think people are catching up to it now. Am I crazy?
Well, they didn't play
both.
very much after this record came out.
They did a full US tour with Terror before this record came out. And I think that was good. But like, this record, had this been out just before that, it might have really like just taken it to another level. But yeah, like, you see the videos from their shows in California, you see the videos from their shows in Brooklyn. They have that energy. This is a powerful band.
It's a young person's band, like, no question. No one over 30, other than probably the 3 people sitting in this table, are listening.
And I encourage people who are a little older too, because this band, on this record, they really grew. I think there's 2 or 3 tracks on that Years of Rage 7-inch that they did.
Yeah.
The song Anti-Spectrum, I will say, is a fan-fucking-tastic song. And Seb goes deep on some lyric shit all over this record. There's a song, KTC, Kill the Construct. Listen to those lyrics. I think there's a lot of people who would kind of dismiss this band for being a hardcore band and not having a lot to say. They're really... Seb's going out there and saying some stuff that's pretty bold.
Yeah, and if you dig District 9, I think this would... If you're an older gentleman or gentlewoman who likes District 9, I think this would scratch that itch.
A lot of groove 90s New York in this. But also fast stuff. I like the production on this record. Production-wise, this next to Foundation makes you go Foundation.
It's also a 7-year difference.
That is totally true. And I think we talked about it
with
Dean
Baltonis.
Yeah.
They were still making records that sounded
They were,
good.
but I tell you, anytime we hear a record from 2010, 11, 12 maybe is the breaking point, to versus 2016, 17, 18, especially 17, 18, I'm always shocked at how much better the production is now.
Right, because you're just as good as the best record of that time.
My favorite song is still Indifference and Defiance.
I like
cool
that one quite
anthem.
A bit.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay.
Anthems on this record. You know what I mean? Like, I can see why young people want it.
I also, regarding some of the lyrical content, a thing that I do enjoy is breaking from typecasting and stereotype where, this is a heads up for all y'all out there. Just because a motherfucker got tattoos and don't wear a shirt don't mean he's not woke. You know what I mean? Like, just because a dude got a shaved head, it looks like he's rotating your tires, it doesn't mean that he doesn't got thoughts in his head.
Yeah, sure.
So that sort of thing, because look, there's not a ton of terrible lyrics in this March Madness.
Yep.
There's not a ton.
No.
But occasionally they sneak through, and when they do, it's in direct contrast to some of
the more heady stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so this has some moments of really good content. So
Foundation up against Regulate. And just to clarify, our votes don't count, yours do, but you're just getting to hear this. So this is purely academic.
Although, heads up, I'm going to say no names. In our last bracket, it felt like some of you were given the Lifetime Achievement Awards instead of voting for the thing that actually was better. And if we're talking about a band's record, specifically a record, and it is their worst record, undeniably, and you are saying that it is good because you like the band.
Because this band was so important, or
You're the point.
Yeah, you're missing the fucking point here, my dude.
And like, don't think we're foolish. We know there's people who are going through and voting, and you're not listening. Maybe you're doing it willfully. Maybe you're just doing it because you don't get the chance. Do the effort to listen if you're going to vote. I actually have called a couple people on Twitter about it. Just been like, yo, man, like, you're being disingenuous to the spirit of the thing.
Yeah.
And like, you're doing everyone a disservice by being involved in this conversation. If you're not, like, yo, honestly, we're going to talk about it in one of these wrap-ups. There was a matchup between Touche Amore and Rival Mob. Crazy how close that was. Mm-hmm. And what I loved was seeing how many people actually listened to both. and went in thinking they were going to go one way and went the other in both directions.
Yeah, interesting.
And it was so awesome to see because it's like, that's what this is. Because there's a Touche kid and there's a Rival Mob kid.
Right. Never the twain shall meet.
And that's, except for younger people who it's like, oh, wait, both these records were really big to me.
Yeah.
And for us more older folks, it's cool to say, oh, wait, you know what? I actually like this more than I thought I did. So don't go into it without listening. Yeah. And don't give the lifetime achievement reward. No. Listen to it on the merit. By the way, a band's worst record, if you're a fan, you might find some stuff that's interesting. You know, like you might find stuff and talk about that as opposed to giving us the, well, you know, this band was so important.
Yeah, so I'm going to put a fine point on that. Foundation is more important to me than Regulate. This Regulate record is better than this Foundation record. There you go.
There you go. I am going to pick the Regulate record. Just leans in harder to me. And some of those things do count. Much closer than I thought it would be because when this Foundation record warmed up for me, I've listened to this Foundation record before and dismissed it in the back of my head because of the first 2 songs maybe. The middle part of this record is the strong part, and when I got there, I liked it, and I will revisit those songs because I like them. Tom, do we even need to ask? Or
remember how a few episodes ago I described the Bitter End versus Incendiary matchup?
Yes.
I think this is comparable.
Okay.
This is one that it was like, all right, well, this is, you know, Duke, say, against fucking Gonzaga, whatever. Yeah. And Duke's got a big lead, and you're like, I'm going to win. Then Zion Williamson, his shoe blows out.
Yeah. Oh.
And the Zags start hitting.
Right. I think this Regulate record's great. I think to me, it's too new that I don't have a total grasp on it yet.
Okay.
This Foundation record means a lot to me. It was, for various reasons. It's incredibly close, like shot at the buzzer, but Foundation wins it for me.
Okay. All
right.
Next up.
Nails Unsilent Death, released on Street Cleaner and 6 Feet Under Records in 2010.
Damn. I got a hot take on this.
Yeah.
This is the most listenable Nails record.
You know what? I think it is.
There's parts that are memorable.
Yes.
It's not all go. It's his voice is a little bit more. You can understand him a little better.
Discernible.
Yes, discernible. There's some groove to the mosh. Mm-hmm. Not every song, like, not that all the songs sound the same, but for someone who doesn't listen to that type of music, like Nails is as far in as I get on that sort of.
Sure.
Yes.
Many people. That's,
you know what I mean. Quite honestly.
Yep.
I feel like, you know, you can listen to a full record and be like, did I listen to 15 songs? Did I listen to 6 long ones? I don't really know. This definitely had discernible parts. I actually really, really, really like. This might be my favorite Nails record.
I thought I liked the
one before this.
Is that a demo? And I'm just
it's Obscene Humanity. It's a record.
Okay, I always think I like that one best, and I've maintained that for a long time. This is really strong though.
Really good.
Whole record, 14 minutes.
Yo, I'm trying to remember what song it is. Maybe Scum Will Rise.
Scum Will Rise is great.
There's a legitimate mosh part.
Suffering Soul.
Suffering Soul. Yep. Yeah.
That's
and it's catchy.
Suffering Soul's great. I think that's my favorite song, but what I put down was Conform into Scum Will Rise, the first and second track, which normally I don't pick those as my favorite song. Often I think they're good, but not. Those 2 songs beat you over the face and tell you what Nails is right away.
Yeah.
It is the most accessible.
And it's definitely the most accessible.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, not to say that it's accessible in any way, but you know.
I think this record quietly is important because I think there was a whole world of bands that wouldn't point at this, but this opened the door for hardcore kids to like.
Yes.
100%.
And
some people were big mad about that at the time.
Lots. And lots of people didn't give this record.
Fucking losers.
Totally.
Was this the record that broke them?
Yep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It didn't come out and break people right away. Nails is the band, and like, you know, I don't think TJ would mind me saying this. This is the band he had to work the hardest with. I think I might have said that before. Unsilent Death tour,
rough, right?
Flyover Country. They're playing empty rooms.
Right.
This record is out. They worked their fucking asses off in limited capacities that they could to make this big, and this record also just eventually caught. Like, people were like, oh, you can't ignore it. And I feel like this is the most Todd record that I think's out. Like this record, and then the Nails records that come after this. This is a dude who's been doing bands for 20 years now. and like I hope he never stops doing nails because it is his I
band,
think
right?
this is what it sounds like in his brain.
Wow. All right.
Cause for concern, honestly.
Yeah. How does he sleep? I mean,
Shout out Always Angry 81. I love this record.
Yeah.
I forget that I really, really like it.
right. Then because I mean, you're always on to like the new thing. Not you. I'm just saying in general, the royal you.
Yes.
You're always like, oh well, now I'm gonna listen to "You'll Never Be One." Like,
A Band in All Life. You'll never
yeah,
be one
right,
of us.
right.
The
But then
next
you
thing.
listen to this, you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
I think this is the most like hardcore of their records too.
Yeah.
It's like it actually has like sing along parts and it's got groovy mosh part. I was really psyched on this.
So-
A great 14-minute listen.
Yeah.
It suffers from the thing that Nails always does and this style always does, which is that there's nothing easy about it. So you're not gonna unless you are a dyed in the wool extreme music listener type. You're not going to be constantly revisiting this one. You're not going to be hitting. You might be hitting. To be honest, I hit back just because I loved a couple parts.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as
This is not the like, hey, I'm making breakfast. Let me just throw this on.
right.
Yeah.
No, unless you are celebrating napalm death on a weekly basis in
Right,
your home.
which there
you're
are.
not-
Yeah,
a lot of
for
people,
sure.
but this record it has all the things that we talked about when we talked about A Band in All Life, but it might be more accessible. It's more hardcore.
Yeah, that's the sense I
And
got.
I think I said A Band in All Life might be their hardcore peak, and I think I mean that because was post this record. This record was already popular. This is my favorite of their records.
Yeah.
It's probably their best.
okay.
We're gonna move quick because these are quick records.
I mean,
We're not talking more than 14 minutes of a 14-minute record.
it's also Nails makes it tough to talk about because it is just a beating from jump, and you have to. That's the social contract. Do you like getting beat up? Here's your record. You know what I mean? And if you don't like getting beat up, it's not your record.
Fair.
And you might find parts of it that maybe you like, but I'm going to be frank. It's not incredibly likely that if you are not into this style of music, that you are isolating tracks and putting them on your mixtape. You know what I mean? It is Todd makes records. You know, he's not trying to make singles. So either you're in or you're out.
Though I will say, Suffering Soul, you put that on a mixtape, people would be in.
Yeah, that's on the gym mix.
My big.
That's on your cardio mix right there.
Also, very congruous with the art. You see the cover of this record,
Yeah.
you know you're in for something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that it doesn't give you, even though there's a ton going on, it doesn't give you a ton to talk about.
No, and I didn't even talk about the song Unsilent Death, which might be their anthem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Next record, Impalers, Cellar Dweller, released on 540 Records and Static Shock, 2017. Just 2 years ago.
I was quite surprised this made the tournament. Not because I'm bad mouthing it, but because it doesn't have a ton of aesthetic similarity with
90% of the tournament.
90%.
Yep. This falls into the bucket with Concealed Blade, basically.
Yeah.
There's maybe
Although
two or
I
three
feel like
other
they would
buckets
fit with
frankly.
nails.
This
Certainly.
Some of it.
I would bet every dollar I have, which may or may not be any, that Todd loves this record.
well, here's what I'll say.
Texas man?
This is a Texas band, I think.
Dudes from Power
Texas.
Trip, isn't
Yep.
Is it right?
So
main songwriter of this band is one of the dudes in Power,
Power
Trip.
Trip. Awesome.
here's where I'll say where it and Concealed Blade fans may part. Fast, frenetic, hectic, all that bullshit. This has a ton more ideas going on per song.
Yeah.
And
almost too many?
that's the next topic. This is great. It's incredibly arm's length, and there's no emotional resonance to it whatsoever.
Really? You don't
Recording
feel it?
wise,
Zero.
performance wise, everything.
It's just too clever for its own good.
You think?
Look. We're going to talk about a record soon on this bracket that I have no affinity for. It doesn't do a thing for me, but I listened, and it made sense to me how a 20-year-old could lock onto it, make it a moment in their lives, and revisit it often.
I have that same feeling on that same record.
This is for connoisseurs only, and there is a low emotional resonance, and that sounds like an
think I
insult, but what I
disagree.
mean by that is you're not taking the same thing from this that you're taking. Like we talk about like the rare moments that I enjoy a tech band. It's rare, right?
Okay.
Rare, but when I do,
Big Destroyer.
it's because there's like a thread of this is not just ideas. This is a full product, even if it's just for a song.
I feel what you're saying, and I got that when I got to the song Nuclear Cabaret.
Oh, good song.
A very good song.
Good song.
It changed off the tempo quite a bit and kind of took some of those ideas. I hear what both of you guys are saying, that there's a lot of ideas going on. I feel like they fuse together in an interesting way at points. This record has like a cult like love.
For sure.
There's people who love this record. Yeah, got in here.
Yeah.
And I really encourage people to listen to it because it has like I think there's people who could really throw this and go, oh, it's like 80s inspired punk band. And I'm like, yeah, but they got a lot of weird stuff going on. It feels like I don't get that cosplay element from listening to this record.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
No. But I think I hear like 3 different bands on this. There's some songs and I'm like, oh, this is totally like Nails, like fast, like, Then there's another thing. It's like he sounds like a British punk. Like he's got like that snotty punk voice.
I was going to say it's
like,
Nails playing flipper songs. Like
fair. All right.
But I hear a lot of Poison Idea.
Yes.
There's the echoey vocal thing going on. So to me, you could have thrown this on Youth Attack, probably.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think they're playing with a couple weird, more angular punk bands from the 80s.
Can I do that dickhead thing I do?
Please.
If this was on Youth Attack, it would be my favorite Youth Attack record by
A Million Miles.
a million miles.
Right.
More than City Hunter?
Yeah. This is so nobody misunderstands me. This is an incredibly well crafted fucking record.
Oh, 100%.
This is a good
they can
record.
play.
Yes, this is a good record. I appreciate it. If I was a kid, I would fucking hate this.
Well, right. If you were you as a kid,
Yes,
right?
correct.
I wonder what the kid who's interested in Youth Attack or who's maybe going to Damaged City or Not Dead Yet, what they feel on this. I bet they fucking vibe
absolutely.
on it.
This band will headline that.
Yeah, I think this record has elements. To me, the first couple songs are cool, and when I went back to them, I liked them. But this, like a few of these other records I said about The Foundation, I think I felt this way on one of the records that we're going to listen to later, that we'll talk about later. This one in particular, when I hit Nuclear Cabaret, it clicked, and I was like, oh, shit.
It's the best song on the
because I
record.
like this record a lot. But then I hadn't listened to it since it came out, basically. I was like, oh, why haven't I listened to this? And I'm listening. I'm like, oh, I get it. Because I like it, but I didn't love it. And then it hit Nuclear Cabaret, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is cool. This is different. So I think there is a lot going on, and I'm curious to see what the band would do going forward. But I do really like it. And I think it's a record that if you like faster stuff, you should check out. And might have gotten kind of swept under the rug because it's in the punk category. So a lot of hardcore kids won't grab to that.
For sure.
Agreed. Yes.
I really liked it, but I think intentionally, particularly, look, when you do vocals of this type, it's distancing intentionally. It's not supposed to be anthemic. It's not supposed to be for the kids. You're doing that. That's an aesthetic choice that you have made that keeps people emotionally at arm's length. Nothing wrong with it. It's a decision. This is really good, and I think that it doesn't have a ton of crossover for 90% of the people that
listen for this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think there are points when the vocals get more personality, which is but it's hidden under an echo filter, basically.
Right. Yeah. Always distancing.
It's distancing. Yeah. So it now you take that element out, and this band might sound wildly different. So who knows?
I mean, it's obviously very well done, but I don't know if I'd seek this out again.
Yeah, I really recommend to people, if you're listening and you're tuning out, skip ahead and get to Nuclear Cabaret. Give that song and the next couple tracks a try, and if those don't click, you can skip ahead.
Yeah.
No worries. All right, so Nails and Silent Death up against Impalers, Cellar Dweller.
A lot of respect for this Impalers record. And honestly, I might listen to it more than I would go back to the Nails record, because I only need to get beat up a couple times a year. I'm not like I'm not a masochist, you know what I mean? But that Nails record is an exceptional beating. So I'm gonna go with the Nails record by a hair for me.
I'm going Nails by a blow up.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Nails. Very, very close.
Wow.
Very close. Because there's just some tracks on that Impalers, man. I think it's going to age well, too. But we'll see. Next matchup. This is a big one. Rotting Out, Street Prowl, released on 6131 Records in 2011.
Damn.
Okay. I don't remember when I was living in California. Certainly, Rotting Out, I think, was big by the time that I was in California, and kids were talking about it. But this was sold poorly to me. Everybody, like when I said I ad-libbed punk, I think that because that's how this was always sold to me.
Like skate punk, bro.
Don't get me wrong. I hear it in songs like the best song on the record, in my view, "Laugh Now, Die Later."
Of course, this is how we are.
Yeah, it's
this
great.
is how we are. I mean, that's there.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's technically a punk part, and certainly that kind of that wavy drum thing where you speed up to slow down, you speed up to slow down. Yeah, that's all punk. This is still a hardcore record, you know.
Oh,
100%. And I liked this more than I anticipated.
I think this is a great record.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fun listen. It's as we talked about Nails, how like you could actually just put this on,
Yes,
and just enjoy it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's very enjoyable. This is a summertime record.
Yeah, not kicking you in the neck. Like
No,
Nails, yeah.
you know what I mean? I see why this is an entry point for a lot of people, because I think it's a little something for everybody. Not intentionally, not in like a kind of like a pandering way.
You could see a kid going from a Pennywise fan to this.
Or I mean, I know one of the big tours that they did was like, it might have been like fucking Ghost Inside or fucking stick to your guns or some shit like that. If you're a kid that's going there for that and then here Riding Out, you're like, oh fuck. I get got enough metal to it. It's got enough fast parts. It's got mosh parts. It literally like covers all bases.
I think it has a lot of like. If this band came from anywhere but Southern California, it would make no sense to me. The only other place that musically, like, this is a band who, like, I always tell the dudes from Blind Justice, I'm like, oh, Rotting Out is a band you guys should have been playing with. Like, skate, like some punk stuff. Like, it's not punk like that, but there's elements of like, oh, you guys grew up. You're very familiar with many records on the Epitaph catalog. You know what I mean?
But they're very like Southern California, like Latino punk.
And Walter's cadence and his personality that shines through vocals.
A lot of personality.
Yeah.
He is one of the most recognizable voices in hardcore.
Absolutely.
But
he could do something on another record, which he does, and you go, oh shit.
But here's the thing. To me, this was low key. Everything it was. I knew this was big, but none of the people in my world were listening to this. Do you know what I mean? And
right, but everyone 5 years younger than them were.
Yes, and it's very interesting to explore a phenomenon that I was really one step removed from this, even when it was in my backyard.
Yeah.
You know, so I found this fascinating. I get what you're saying, that this is a great entry point for a lot of people, but it wasn't. I also feel it wasn't like when Comeback Kid was that, and it was kind of, it felt like there was an effort towards being people's entry point.
Right. No, this Rotting Out just evolved to that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they evolved to that.
Was this the first record with Walter?
I thought so. The one before this is the other kid, yeah?
I believe so. Yes, because this is their first LP. Yes, this is the first record with Walter. And Walter's a dude who I met not too long after I lived in California. So, like, I moved there in 2003. I think I probably met him in 04, 05. It's not like I was ever close. I'm not super close with the guy, but he's a very nice guy. And he was at literally every single show. Yeah. Every show. And always going off for every band. And would occasionally do guest vocal spots. And I remember telling him, like, dude,
you got to be in a band.
You got to be in a band, because he was in bands. He was in tons of bands. But being like, you need to sing in a band. And it just,
right.
It's really cool. Like, I was kind of disconnected around this time too. I knew that he was singing for them. And then when I finally got to see him, I was like, oh yeah.
Now, so he was in Rotting Out, but he played bass or something, right?
That's right. Yeah.
With the difference.
The guy, there was a kid named Mike who sang.
Right,
so,
right.
It was a very different feel. And when Walter takes over, it's cool. Like, both versions have their fans. Yeah. But when Walter took over, his personality just fills the room. And to me, I really like the first song, Street Prowl. I think it kind of kicks in and you feel what it is. You feel like, oh, this is like California punk hardcore kind of deal. And I think because of their placement, their record came out in 6131, the bands they toured with, I bet there's a lot of people who like this style stuff that's like hardcore punk who definitely have written this off. Like, oh, this is too mainstream hardcore, procore.
Yeah.
And
it's really
who
not.
listen to it, who if you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah,
Fuck,
this could have been in my record collection. The song She Sings, emotionally raw song, lyrically really raw. So I think that's
Angels like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that lyrically he's doing stuff that he doesn't get credit for, and it's good.
Very, very good lyrics.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Rotting Out. An interesting matchup with this.
Yeah, it is.
Cruel Hand, Lock and Key, Bridge 9 Records, 2010.
Jog my memory. Oh, so 2010. So it wouldn't be possible that the one before it would make the.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't made it. Which is it's
Prying Eyes.
Prying Eyes is before this. Yeah,
Right.
And there was one before that, Without a Pulse.
Yes, some people love that one. Yeah. So
cult classic.
I'm gonna go in.
Go in. These are dudes.
I really like Cruel Hand.
Yeah.
I think Cruel Hand took the formula that a lot of people were attempting at that time.
Madball, No Warning.
Yeah.
Terror.
Yeah. Really.
Really Madball, really No Warning.
Really no warning.
Yeah. The intro is Set It Off. It's just Set It Off.
Okay. So let's build the chassis of the car. That's Madball. You know what I mean?
That's true. You're right. You're right.
Fair.
Now let's put on the body. That's a little No Warning. You know what I mean?
Especially vocally.
And that's No Warning.
I don't think they're as much of a ripoff as people.
No,
claim
I
them to
agree.
be.
I agree.
Listening to this record, there's not as much bounce.
Well, this record in particular, this record lost some people because this is the record that people unfairly said, oh, this is them trying to be Metallica. This is them
it's very thrashy.
Taking a turn towards whatever.
Which doesn't make sense because there's a few parts on this record where they're showing chops, but that's it.
But I think that it's enough to separate it from the pack. And that's where I think people got things confused. This is a hardcore record with thrash elements, but those thrash elements are not so...
I mean, it's not like fucking Municipal Waste. It's
No,
just fast
not
parts.
at all.
Yeah,
right. And here's my beef with this record. I like Prying Eyes a lot.
Yeah, it's a good record.
And I did not love this record the first couple times I listened, so I haven't revisited it with any frequency. On this listen, I think this record lacks the bangers.
This doesn't have Life in Shambles.
Right.
Yeah.
It lacks the bangers, but this is a very well done,
Absolutely.
fucking thrashy hardcore record. It's very
100%.
well done.
Yeah.
And I was kind of really taken aback because there was people that jumped on the Cruel Hand train at this time, and there's people that jumped off the Cruel Hand train at this time.
Right, now I wouldn't see why you... I can see why you would come on.
Yes.
But I don't see why you'd be like, this is not for me anymore.
No.
Absolutely. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
What also doesn't make sense, and you guys can hit me to this, why? Why did this band become the band that pop punk bands, kids gravitated to?
They toured relentlessly and would play with whoever.
Yeah, unafraid. There was a number
Did not
of years,
care. Would
there was
play
a
with
number
But
of years where
they were like this, the sellout band because they're on tour with fucking Data Remember, whoever the fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
But like, why them? Like, there wasn't enough of a pivot to be like, oh, you're making like a pop punk record.
well, later there was, but
Was it? Oh.
Yeah. But now
It's just more like bigger room. It was like their version of Suffer Survive.
Right, you can tell.
Yeah, and it's like it was a try for that. And I guess you could say that's the quote unquote sellout record. But they had been a band for like a solid 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're just like, I always looked at, they're trying something different. They're just trying to
And
do
this
it
is an
different.
Outbreak offshoot, correct?
yes,
Yep.
two members of Outbreak at least.
Two
yeah.
members.
The classic lineup of this being Nate and Chris from Outbreak
Right,
doing their
right.
own thing.
And I maintain
A band who's totally written out of history
Yes.
right now. Yeah.
Outbreak?
We got to talk about that.
We will.
I mean, and you go to YouTube and watch some of their reactions and some of the biggest things you'd ever seen.
Insane. And there's also a band that maybe we won't talk about this episode that did not make the tournament that is shocking when taken into consideration.
Yes.
But and we'll probably address that. We'll probably address that in some fashion. But
Yeah, we're going to do a coulda, shoulda, made it.
gotcha. This band, I don't know if people are aware, when they were on all cylinders, this was a fucking beautiful. I'm gonna get weird. You ready? You ready? This was a beautiful hardcore band. This was a hardcore band that to watch live was
he's a great front person.
Exciting,
yeah,
and did everything that you would want from. And I don't give a fuck what lane of hardcore you're in. When this band was at their peak, if you couldn't appreciate it live, you dick. Yeah. It was fucking good. It was well done
from the jump.
I have a lot of respect for this act, but this record I liked a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. Everything you said. A lot of Madball. A lot of No Warning. But
like
not
almost latter day Madball.
Yeah. I mean, this is we did the Year in Hardcore 2010 episode, and we did talk about this record a bit there, and this is the time where it was like, hey, everybody, remember Madball? And everyone in class stood up and said, yeah, all at the same time as, a Terror record comes out that's got a lot of Madball on it. Yeah. DTN does an EP that's way more Madball than anything they had done before. This record comes out, and there's several others. And that's not a diss, but it's definitely feels that.
I know what I wanted to comment on regarding why Cruel Hand might have gotten some of that slight written out. They're getting written back in, but they were written out for a moment. So this is going to sound crazy to some of our younger listeners. There was a moment where people didn't like what Terror was doing with their career.
That's true. That's correct.
And
prior to Keepers of the Faith,
they were playing. I'm not just talking about musically. They might have lost some people with the metal leaning record, but what I mean is the tour.
Who they were touring with? Yeah. No. I mean, and that's that kind of period where they do that record and they're touring with bands that people didn't agree with. Out of genre stuff, and now.
That's why they're still popping now.
That's why Terror is who they are, because they took the chances that they wanted to take to reach other people and bring those people into their fold,
expanding the circle.
And look,
did you go to Skate and Surf when it was back in Asbury?
Probably not.
This is a couple years ago.
No, I did not go.
But to that point, AN played one stage. Terror played right after them, like right next to them. The reactions were insanely different.
Yeah?
Really?
Terror murdered.
No surprise.
But it was an Attila tour. It was
bigger audience.
Day to Remember. It was on the big stage. Like all that shit. Killed.
Yeah. And look,
killed.
And maybe somebody in our listenership can take issue with that. I'm looking at things from a I love to play music perspective.
Right. Who wouldn't want to make it their job if you could?
Well, I mean, it's a very tiring job. You'd be better off driving a truck. But I'm going to say that the Cruel Hand attempted the Terror model and
like fit in that lane, like fit in that void.
Go out with whoever. Go out with and sometimes the push. Sometimes if you're not Terror, that can hurt. And even Terror at the time was getting a lot of side eye. So
but they never fell off.
Terror, to the extent. Well, Terror sort of when they had lost a lot of people and people were saying, "Oh, I never."
People were low rating them.
They basically let's just say it frank. Yeah. If you never get to see your favorite band because they're out with bands that you don't want to fucking pay to see,
then you
start developing a feeling.
Right, you move on to the next.
Yes. So that's
and then all of a sudden it's in the rear view.
Yes, and that started to happen maybe a little bit for Terror in my view.
And then they drop Keepers of the Faith and have a game-changing comeback record, and that is one of the rarest things in music, let alone in this world of shit. That's not like. If we put on The Damned, The Shamed and listen to it side by side with Keepers of the Faith, probably different, but not that
not
different.
Worlds, no.
Still the same band.
Right.
It's just that they were able to accomplish something, which was recapture the spirit that people wanted or people expected, but with a little different feel in a non-corny, non-forced way that a band like Cruel Hand just hasn't been able to do.
Yeah, and I think
a band like most bands haven't been able to do.
No.
Right. And my hope is that Cruel Hand does recapture some of that, though, because, again...
They work hard. Talented dudes.
At their peak, we were talking about some of the... When we did that interview with Pat Flynn, and it was so evident to anybody listening that is a student of this particular genre. That's a student of the craft, right? Look, the dudes in Cruel Hand might not chat it in the same way that Pat does, but they are fucking learned men.
And for a decade, you would see them stage diving over everyone at every show.
These are people that
best stage divers in the game.
Yeah, for years.
And Body. That's really the two best.
Little brand.
But for years, these were dudes that were soaking in what different types of hardcore was,
and getting all different types.
Yes, and so whatever. Point is, I don't just say this because I got an affinity for them. Listening to this record, I was brought back to the fact.
It's a good record.
Oh, these dudes are good at what they do.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But anyway,
Absolutely.
So
it's Rotting Out versus
Street Prowl versus Cruel Hand, Lock and Key. It goes to Rotting Out, Street Prowl for me.
Interesting.
Same.
Really?
I'd have to agree.
I'm going to go Cruel Hand, but it, honestly, it's a bit of a coin flip because I thought that Rotting Out record was a lot of good, just maybe not for me.
I think if you like one of these records, you probably like the other too.
They're two sides of the same coin, if we're really being honest.
Yep. Well, in the same way
one's a little punker, one's a little metaler, but it's kind of the same shit.
In the same way that
both firmly hardcore.
Yeah.
Same way that Nails and the Impalers might be a tough one for some people because they maybe they default to the thing that they've listened to more, but they're like, wow, I got a lot of respect for both. We're going to hear that a lot in this bracket as well.
Yeah, and so just to kind of remember, because people always ask this every week that we do this.
Fuck.
How did these come together? We put a poll out, tallied the votes. People didn't know, but we tallied how many each record got, and then put those in order. So the band who got the most was seated at number 1, and the band who got the least, who made this, then it goes down. There was over 200 records that were nominated, say, and the top 64, and really the top 68 were seated there by vote. So this is all random and based on seating, which will be revealed in a couple weeks because we're getting through the first.
Did we end up nudging anything?
No.
Okay, so
not a.
This is legitimately we had literally nothing to do with the records that were included.
That's a better choice on our part. Although it has there's some.
Yeah, because to me, there's been several matchups that it's like, it would have been nice not to put this record over here and then this record at the other end of the category 100%. So they don't go up against
those
each
matchups
other.
Are going to cost some bands that probably would have made the Sweet 16.
Absolutely.
Was it 2 episodes ago? I thought the Code Orange TUI. I thought that pairing was almost unfair. Wait
till the next round when Trapped Under Ice is up against Title Fight.
No shit, right?
TUI Big Kiss Goodnight versus Title Fight Floral Green.
Fuck, all right.
Fucking insane. A lot of people.
Bro, I know what I'm going to vote for already, bro. I'm not going to fucking listen, bro.
I'm going to pee while you name these
I'm going to announce this.
Well, thank you.
Turnstile, Step to Rhythm, Reaper Records. 2013. Yes, exactly. Yeah. What do you think of this?
This is my least favorite Turnstile record.
I think mine too.
You can see they're going for something. They just haven't gotten there yet, and they got there during Time and Space. And I know we're trying to listen to these in like vacuums and stuff, and it's really difficult to do.
Really difficult. I think they were working on something. The first EP is basically their demo,
right?
And you can feel the energy off that,
yes.
And you can feel what they're doing. There's a lot of groove, a lot of bounce. But still hard parts.
Yeah.
They're working it in, Step to Rhythm. I actually think it's the most appropriate title for a record.
It's a
at least in this, Step to Rhythm. My favorite song is Keep It Moving.
Yes.
Just because it grooves, but it bounces and it's hard. Like, there's a lot of moshing on this record in a hard mosh part way, but in a this is a mosh part. You're bouncing around.
Yeah, almost like a leeway way.
Yeah.
It had a very leeway vibe to me.
A lot of New York all over this, but in the modern sense, it's been strained through things. But it's not my favorite Turnstile. It's my least favorite Turnstile record, and that's not to even say that it's bad.
No,
because it's one of the 3 Turnstile records that made this tournament, and
they were 3 for 3.
They were 3 for 3. I guess the first EP could have made it. Pressure to Succeed.
Yeah.
Could have made it, but it just didn't get quite enough votes. It would have been wild if they went 4 for 4.
I do love this intro.
Oh, yeah. Bassy, which I think is what leans in for you.
I'm gonna say the thing I said 12 times this episode. Better than I remember.
Yeah,
You know, it surprised me. Here's the deal. This record suffers from being the rough sketches of things that they would later turn into masterpieces. And that's unfair because we want to look at this as its own thing.
Just said that.
Oh, you did? Oh, well, I was peeing? Okay, but goodbye.
No, please.
Goodbye. I'll fuck myself.
He just pissed his pants again, so there we go.
I mean, okay. Then
it's hard to list them in a vacuum.
But it's okay. It really is. And it's if you listen to this, go listen on Some Feeling and then listen to this. You go, oh, I see it. Here's the sketches. It's a sketchbook.
Honestly, what song is it? It's a song.
I like Canned Heat too.
I think it might be maybe Push Me. There's a song on this that maybe Better Way because I listened to it because it reminds me of Shelter. So this song to me is legitimately a sketch that they would then paint over.
Yes.
On the album.
Secret. I think Turnstile does that a lot.
Yeah. But
I think they're doing it constantly. I think they're going.
Do it. God bless.
It's like if you have it's like you have a baseline, like, oh, grandma's soup recipe, it's really good. And then you make it and you're like, yeah, this is good, but maybe I should try doing a few different things. And you start futzing with it. And eventually you got something great, but you can't really call it grandma's recipe anymore.
Right. It's
and
either
I think
that
that's where
or
we're
you
at.
paint over it and you paint over like that woman who tried to paint over the picture of Jesus.
I love that so much.
You know,
so
sometimes
much.
you go back to the well and it's not so great.
So if I were them, I would have left it. That's brilliant.
At the Albany Comic Con in 1987, John Bogdanov was there.
Yeah.
Maybe 87, maybe 89, somewhere in there. It was in the 80s. And my father got him to do a sketch of Wolverine for me, which was rad. I played with his son for a while. Shout out to you, young Bogdanov. Haven't seen you since.
What's up, bro? You fucking email me, bro.
Yeah, very, very kind. I got the sketch, brought it home, but I was like, you know what this needs? It needs a word bubble.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I drew a word bubble, and my dad looked at me and was like, oh, okay.
Oh, you did that. All right.
He wasn't mad, but then years later, like even just a couple years later, I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? Tried to erase it.
Would you tell Ian not to do that?
Easton?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I would explain because my father didn't even think like why would you do that? Like, he didn't
right,
think,
but you explain to him like this is really rare.
This is art. Yeah,
this
like
is cool.
I would put it in a frame. My father put it in a frame, but no glass. I might even just take it out of the glass to be honest. I was
right, be like, hey, we gotta touch this up.
I can improve this. It can be better.
So
RoboCop this shit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to confirm. Bogdanov did these few issues of X Factor in like the maybe very late 80s, early 90s.
Like 30s.
And
is the Asgardian ones?
No, it's the
that's Simonson still.
Issues 58, 60 through 62.
Oh yeah, good little run right before Portasio.
The colors on like I actually have it in my notes when I send things to colorists. The coloring choices, and I should check who the colorist was at the time, but the coloring choices for this Bogdanov work is so broad and basic, and as a result, his actual art pops so beautifully.
This one 59,
and it's
great.
It's just leave him alone and let him do what he does by being go for the assist
for the true dorks. This is the run where Trish Tilby and Hank McCoy break up. It's a big thing. Pieces going through some stuff. Bobby Drake coming out of the closet is dating a young woman that leads into a nice run. This is actually a strong X Factor little dip. So post Extinction Agenda, pre Mutant Genesis. So pretty fun. Let's move on. So Tom
we
rejoined.
sucked the air out of the room for Tom. All right.
Anything else on Turnstile? Supreme live act. If you see videos of them of this time, you can already see. Oh, I get what's going on here. I think tough listen for older ears on it.
Sure.
Maybe.
These songs live.
Kill, though. Yeah. I think that's the thing. If you're older and you're listening to this and you're like, I'm just not connecting, go watch the live videos.
I thought these. I will now add this to my Turnstile,
Canon.
Yeah, I like.
Interesting.
I actually I like this.
I like Logan. I like comic book movie.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I was taking. It took me that long to remember. What movie was called. It was. I cried.
James Howlett. Okay.
I got to read it. I'll read you something after this.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed this. I treat it more like a demo though. That's just my attitude.
Bane, definitely not a demo. Bane,
No.
Don't Wait Up. Equal Vision Records, 2014. Shoutouts to fucking Equal Vision. Love the old logo. Go back to it.
That logo's
fucking
so
Equal
cool.
Vision, so cool.
Oh, are they? What's the logo
support it.
now?
There's some garbage. It looks like an Instagram thing.
Oh, no.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's definitely not the fucking.
It's not Schna.
It's not Krishna.
No. Giant like that on the fucking.
So cool.
Oh, man.
So cool on shirts. Just make some of those. Yo, if you give us permission, y'all, somebody at Merch Now or EVR who's listening, give us the permission to make Axe to Grind X Equal Vision Records shirts. We'll do it out of our dime with you. You gotta love that.
They do.
And it'll be like one of those newfangled streetwear things.
Yeah. Collab.
Yeah.
right.
Fuck with the Vision fam.
That's it.
Bane, Don't Wait Up, 2014.
Lining up outside your apartment trying to buy you one.
So Bane is quiet as it's kept, as weird a hardcore band as ever was. These songs go far afield.
There is literally no band ever that would sound like this.
And no band that would be in hardcore that would sound like this.
This is all over the fucking.
Yeah.
Question for you, though. The question was ringing in my head. Is this the Bane record they were always trying to make?
At least two
Some
members.
partial.
Two members were. Yeah.
I feel like if you went...
Zach and
Maybe Aaron.
But if you went... I feel like if you went back to... So what's the last... Give Blood comes out in like... Or no, then The Note is like 2003 or 4 or something like that?
4, I think. Yeah, and then this is...
This is 10 years later.
Right. And they had those like 7 inches in between.
Right. Yeah. I feel like if you went back to these dudes in like 2000, 2001 and said, hey, here's the record you're going to write in 10 years, I think they'd all be pumped on it.
So honestly, I should reach out and ask them their feelings on this because this is now these are all hardcore dudes, etc. But some of them are weirder than others. Have broad.
Zach's a weirdo.
Have broad tastes.
He likes
from
Deftones.
From Jump. Yeah.
Faith No More.
Yeah,
Damien Rice.
He loves all that shit. At any rate, but Bedard, I think, is naturally most comfortable in a hardcore, quote unquote, hardcore act.
Yes.
So
Not really going on a limb.
yeah, no,
on
but
that, buddy.
do you understand what I'm building to? Which is this is almost not a hardcore record.
I don't know. I think there's enough fast stuff going on this record that you can't. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
This is when I listened to this, I said, "This and Thursday are kissing cousins."
Will you bring
hold
Edge?
on. Yeah. Because you were just before you were telling me Between the Buried and Me, maybe straight hardcore, but this one you're
No, I'm just saying you
I
can
feel
include
like
it.
this is like the ultimate Bane record, maybe.
No, but
Not their classic, not their signature, but like the perfection of desire. This is like we hit it. This is what we wanted to write.
But I'm saying the same thing you're always saying, which is just because something's not hardcore doesn't mean it's not good.
That's totally correct too.
I'm just saying, and
Yeah, Bane is the least hardcore, most hardcore band of all
that's
time.
what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm driving at.
Sure,
is that fair? 'Cause
That's fine. I think they'd
Well,
cop
no one
to
else
it
sounds
and
like
be
them,
psyched
because
on
There's
it.
no way. Like, you can't say, like, oh, it sounds like agnostic. Like,
By this time,
it sounds
no
like nothing.
chance. Yeah.
Early Bane, you could be like, sounds like Burn.
Yeah, you can pull in that.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I don't know what it sounds like.
Right.
Like, no one else could have made this record.
This is it's epic.
100%.
They defined that kind of epic, melodic, modern hardcore sound.
Right.
And this is kind of them. I think this is them stunting on that kind of sound.
Right.
And that means you go one step beyond modern melodic hardcore, and you're not too far from something, say, like Thursday, you know, or
I'm not saying that- I'm not saying
outside
that-
genre.
I'm not saying that anthemic Thursday stuff that I remember, but those other records that where they started to really play. Bane is playing on this record. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of ideas, but not in the Impalers way, where you're reaching far afield. This is this.
Yo,
I
this
was
record-
really blown away by this, and not necessarily in a. I think this is a great record.
Sure.
Just in a, oh wow, I haven't listened to this in years. This is crazy that they went as far as they did with their sound, and still people love it.
I think there was clearly hardcore songs on here, and then there were clearly Bane songs. Which is like definition of a new sound. You know, like there's like you know, I think it's a fitting, like what's the Guns, the Swan Song?
Yeah.
Which like I guess it's a hardcore song kind of because it's Bane wrote it, but it's more of a Bane song. And I think they have a couple tracks like that on this record too that are Bane songs. My favorite song on this record is Wrong Planet, which is the second to last track, which Deep Cut definitely doesn't fall into the fact, like the first song on this record I think is like I'm like, oh, this is probably the best fast sound that Bane's ever gotten. This is good. I think the production's fantastic all over this record, but Wrong Planet's just a weird song, and I really liked it.
So here's a question for both of you. Is this like Nails, where you have to if to really love Nails, I think that you probably have to enjoy extreme stuff. To really love this Bane record, do you have to love Bane?
Yes.
Or is this an ultimate crossover record?
You have to love Bane to love this record.
Okay.
What about the one song with all the vocalists? What's that song called?
Calling Hours. It's my favorite song on this record.
And that's like a lot of Bane fans are like, oh yeah, this is canon. This is a Bane song they should play every show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think are they bringing in like new kids on this record? No. Are they bringing back old kids that might have fallen off a little bit? 100%.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I don't think like they're playing and it's like, hey, this band's good.
No, but Bane first for a time was the premier kind of, if not entry point, then at least like I'm grabbing people from scene 1, scene 2, scene 3.
Because they were willing to do the same thing Cruel Hand was, which is play with a lot of different bands. They did those tours.
Though?
Yeah.
Yeah? Like
they did a bunch of weird like pseudo pop punk band tours.
Oh, weird.
Like the mid.
Oh wait, I did see them with Strung Out at Lemoyne's.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they were doing a lot of that kind of stuff because they were not afraid to do it. And like, what's the Bane side project band?
Converge.
No.
There was In Cartridge Funeral, followed by
Bill Stevenson's involved.
Oh no, Only Crime.
Only Crime, right?
With Dahlbeck played guitar in it.
Right, and so they were not afraid to go do other stuff, and that made connections. And they toured. I mean, starting in like 2000, they just started touring. That was it.
Yeah.
Reminder: Dahlbeck, insane player.
Oh,
insane player.
This whole band is, you know, like
reminder. If you lost sight of that,
yeah. Who played bass on this? Because it wasn't Pete Hilton.
No.
Pete Hilton might have played on not Pete Hilton.
Pete Chilton.
Pete Chilton, not Pete Hilton.
No,
wrong Pete. Both tall.
Both tall. Yeah.
Both hirsute.
Let's see, band members. It is. It is Pete. Pete plays on this.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
I think
it's Aaron, Zach, Pete, Bob. Yep.
Bob Mahoney.
Yep.
Go.
Rich Sky. Mm-hmm. I think. Like there's no one else could have written this record. I think it's awesome because I can't think of another hardcore record written from the point of view of like this is the end. This is like Warren Zevon came out with a record. He knew he was dying, and he wrote an LP all about like those feelings because he knew he was done.
Yep.
This is the equivalent of that. And like, how often do hardcore bands get to have the foresight to be like,
yeah,
hey, like there's songs in here that are so overtly like, holy shit, we got to do this.
Yep.
Like, I can't believe this is over.
Yep.
This is the only thing I ever loved. This is the only thing I was ever good at.
Yep.
And it's over.
Yep.
And then they toured on it for 2 years. But, like, how can you... No, bands break up in a fucking van in Idaho.
Yeah,
they don't break up...
This is what we would call a complete package so far as the moment, the record, the aesthetic.
You left it out there. You left it all out there.
I was... you know, I don't know that I love this in any sort of way, but I was very impressed.
I mean, Calling Hours is one of my favorite hardcore songs probably in the last 20 years.
Well, there's one song...
A lot of people feel that way.
There's one song on this that is... I remember when I listened to it, I said, this could conceivably save somebody's life because... And I don't get melodramatic like that, but...
Yeah.
But Bedard is speaking obliquely at times, but he's talking about something very serious and and personal. And there is I remember listening to it and going, oh, this is like, I don't, you know me, I'm selfish. I don't look at music as a public service that I'm doing.
Right.
But like, there's a couple songs on this that I was saying, damn, you know what I mean? That might help a kid.
Like, do you know the Calling? Can you remember the Calling Hours song?
It's the one with the guests.
Yes. Which I think like
Pat Flynn, Walter, Reba from Code Orange.
David Wood.
David Wood, that's right.
He starts it off. But like it's so, Walter leading in with the fucking laugh.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like killing it. Like literally killing the band. And like Kate, like Reba being like the Kato 8.
She does the Kato 8 vocals on this.
But like it kind of, it's like such a perfect ending because it's, Can We Start Again was early on, one of their biggest songs, and it kind of ends with that. It's really fucking cool.
It's hard to do a self-aware record that doesn't suck, and this one
doesn't suck.
Is highly self-aware and does not suck.
Yeah.
Agree.
All right,
so we're voting between Turnstile, Step to Rhythm, and Bane, Don't Wait Up. Tom, start us off.
I'm going Bane, Don't Wait Up.
PK?
Tough, because I feel that one is essentially, to my ear, a demo, and the other one is the most complete thing that the band has ever done. But I think I enjoy the Turnstile record more.
So you're going Turnstile?
I'm going Turnstile. With admiration for the Bane record. A great deal of admiration, but...
We know. Let's see. Let me think about this. It is tough. Bane.
Okay.
Has a very listenable flow to it in a really interesting way. And I think it, as a on-record non-Baniac, I would say it's their best record.
Better than Give Blood.
I haven't listened to Give Blood in a long time, but it's a very good record.
Like
I did listen to it for the deep dive. I think the production on this record just really feels smooth, and just everything sounds so good. And even compared to some of the other records we listened to, I was like, oh, this goes down smooth. And I think I also was impressed, and we listen to these in a vacuum, but outside the vacuum, I was impressed with the fact that it had been 10 years since they did a proper full length, and there was no letdown from it. It wasn't like it wasn't Peyton Manning in the last season of his career. It wasn't like, oh shit, he can't really throw the ball anymore. It was, they're still throwing fucking rockets. So
no debate there.
All right.
Okay.
Feeling good?
Pretty good episode, I felt.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, we were all over the map. We talked about the X-Men. We talked about
my personal failings and position in life.
How we're renaming you Patrick Russell, Isaiah Cuck Kindlin.
Oh, no.
Give you the C. No. You got the C until you fucking dig yourself out of this goddamn hole.
It's a hole, man.
Like, if you see us out there, like if we say we're out at Sound and Fury and we're having like a picnic, whatever, don't try to grab anything from Bob's plate.
Oh, no. We learned that lesson, yeah.
Well, if you ask, I'll give you. But if we're in line together and I see you skip the potatoes, but then we sit down and you eat my potato, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Sure. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Doing me dirty.
Yeah. I think that it requires a push towards the center of the table, and then it's kind of like help yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely fair game. Absolutely. And also, or gentle, yo, those potatoes look really good right now. Yo, man, they are. Grab some.
Do you know what I don't like? I don't like when somebody leans back, indicating that they're done with their meal, and you're eyeing those fries, and then
they don't,
and they're not done. It's like, yeah, come on, man. What
don't lean back.
Yo, that's if you're done with your food. This is we're going axe to grind culinary school.
Yeah,
if you're done with your maybe more manners party,
finishing school,
you're done. But you got food, and you see people who kind of like eyeing. Give the survey and be like, anybody want these fries?
Oh, for sure.
Please, that's a nice thing. Not wasteful, man.
Yeah.
Don't be wasteful.
I usually lead off with that. If I order fries on the side of like a veggie burger or something, I go, yo, man, I'm not gonna finish these, so have at it. Like, don't wait until they're ended.
I never know what I'm gonna finish. So sometimes I think I can go hard.
I feel like you can always share. You're never gonna be starving.
No, I'm okay. I like that move too. Is if I set the expectation right away, then I have no feelings on it. I feel like I left it out there, and I'd rather that. But yeah, because then also I put it on me. We've been getting a lot of cookie talk continued. I think it's cool.
So much cookie talk.
Somebody hit me and told me that Best Show. That's like that FMU podcast or something. They do a whole Oreo thing all the time.
We weren't copying them.
So we had no fucking idea, but we don't want to be on that corner. But we'll talk cookies. Send us your cookie shit. It's cool.
I'm trying.
You guys fuck with? Do you fuck with Nutter Butters ever?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
I can fuck with it. Did Sansone send us the chocolate covered Nutter Butter?
Yeah. And what I said,
I probably can't fuck with that one.
No, but what I said, we get some Nutter Butters. I think I mentioned this. I taught myself how to melt chocolate real good. So we get some dark chocolate we feel certified on.
Yeah. We're going to have a chocolate fountain.
A little fondue,
dipping. I think that's due.
Are the regular ones vegan or is it the off-brand Nutter Butter?
I think the
vegan?
regular ones are
Okay,
vegan.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've had
And
a Nutter
and
Butter
mine
It still
product.
smells like oil and vinegar.
It does. I know. It's the
microphone.
How?
Fuck.
Because they were in the bag.
Oh, fuck,
Yo, it
that's
literally
why.
smells like a Subway sandwich. I
it
feel like
does.
I'm in Fulton Street in downtown Brooklyn.
Crazy. Did he dip it? Did he dip the bag?
Is this
in?
au jus?
Yo, can we call
What's
him?
going
real
on
quick?
here?
Let's call him.
Are we calling him on the pod?
We're gonna call him.
Let's
Let's
see
see what
what's
we
up.
can do. All right, real quick.
Eric Wilson, why the fuck
Yeah. What's the
does
answer?
our shit smell like?
He's gonna be tripped out that we're calling him, but that's all right.
It smells like an Italian BMT from Subway.
It truly.
Little oil, vinegar, mayo, salt, and pepper.
Let's see.
Let's see what he says.
Maybe,
not gonna
maybe
answer.
he was out late last night. He was not responding early at all.
He got at me though. We got it figured, sorted, pick up with the things. He's gonna think it's a real emergency, but I bet he doesn't pick up.
He'll text you.
He's nervous. He thinks that we forgot something. We have to get back to his house. And he's
Correct, and he's
away
like,
from
"Oh
his
no,
house."
I can't do that." He's definitely away from his
All
house.
right, Eric, you live this time.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Get us at get the socials.
Yeah. This.
Oh yeah, at Axe to Grindcast on Twitter, which is Patrick's attempt at making a grindcore grindcast kind of joke. At Axe to Grind Podcast on Instagram. We do have a Facebook page. Go there if you're
Search
a
it.
grandparent. Axe to Grind Podcast at gmail.com. We love emails. If you got questions for us, that's the best place to put them because we will definitely see them and get to them at some point.
I heard there was a thread about my personal life.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you for those of you that are concerned. I'm all right. Thank you.
Some people were mean.
Were they mean?
They're like,
I don't
was you
know.
like leaving like? Someone said something about like. I just picture him leaving with like his computer, the one pair of clothes that he has, and 75 pounds of linoleum.
Not wrong.
correct.
Not wrong. Whoa.
Well, by the way, the whole thing's just a bit.
Psych! You got got.
Wow. I fucking wish. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.